most important thing was to realise that as the Rape Wise Foundation, an organisation, we train about 35,000 teachers a year. I speak to about 100,000 teenagers, kids, and we speak to about 20,000 parents. So it's imperative that we take subjects that's really relevant to what's going on in South African schools. And one of the big problems that we have at the moment is school violence. So what we did in today's workshop was speak about the causes of school violence, and I think the biggest cause individually is peer victimization or bullying. So what we're really saying to the teachers and to parents and to kids is identify the different types of bullying. That it's psychological, that's massive, physical bullying, we talked about financial and sexual bullying, as well as cyberbullying, which is probably the worst part or worst form of bullying because it's with us 24/7. You know, if you've been physically bullied at school and the bell rings at 2 o'clock in the afternoon, you go home and you're safe. Versus somebody who's been cyberbullied, they're bullied in the bath, they're bullied in the lounge while they're having dinner, so it just doesn't stop. And so we looked at a whole anti-bullying program and empowering kids to say enough is enough, we're not going to put up with it. Then we looked at gangsterism in the schools and how gangs are infiltrating our schools, in our Model C schools, our independent schools, and how to identify the kids that are potential gangsters and why they do it. And then we looked at putting a Stop Killing in Schools program together, where a school actually formed a safety committee where they had learners sitting as well, and information was fed through via the learners and parents of stuff that's happening in your community, in your area. So if we find out that Josh is threatening to kill James, then the teacher should be told, and the teacher needs to know how to react to that.
Yes.
Because if we just ignore it, we'll have another Morne Harmsa killing, which took place in 2008.
Yes, yes. So in terms of the boys, really, it's about parents, kids coming forward and actually in a non-victimized environment. So I think that's the fear that we have as parents. If I say something, I'm going to be victimized. If I say something, it will be bad for me.
Yeah, something interesting we just introduced at Hilton College a couple of weeks ago was an amnesty hour for the boys once a week. So what actually happened is the kids were given an opportunity to speak to their housemaster and share with them any concerns they had. It could have been about violence, it could have been something that's planned for this week's big rugby derby against one of the other schools, and know that firstly it's going to be anonymous. They're not going to be they're not going to look like they've actually gone out there and did something, really. And secondly, that there's no consequences. So by sharing information that's valuable with management of the school, and I do that in my own home. I have two sons, 10 and 13, and I will tell them, guys, if you need to come and speak to me, that you call an amnesty chat and you tell me exactly what's going on, and they've learned to communicate. So now they'll actually approach me and not even ask for it. They just start speaking.
So really it's a culture change. It's a culture change, and I think probably it's an education process with the authority figure.
Yes, very much so.
So, you know, because like you say, in the home, that's got to be key. You've got to be happy, comfortable, supported, and so on before you're going to be able to open your mouth. See, certain of the schools do have a very strong border contingent. So the boys are actually boarders. So they don't have home to go to.
Well, I think that's...
Like you said,
what the problem in a boarding environment is, you know, you sit around dinner in the evening, and a child in my home, if I'm sitting with my two sons and my wife having dinner, and the boys say something inappropriate, I can correct them immediately. Where you're in a boarding environment, who fixes it?
Yes.
The peers normally encourage the negative behaviour instead of fixing it. So in that case, that's where your head of the house, for example, is that so-called parent at school, and that communication relationship needs to be open there.
So possibly a training kind of or a sensitizing program to those authority figures,
yes,
whether
very much so.
The house prefect, the house master, and so on. That would be appropriate.
Very, very appropriate. Just firstly understanding what the problem is and finding ways to deal with it.
Yes, yeah. You see, that is probably our concern. The boys have this problem. But now what do I do with my problem?
That's exactly it. It's training.
And it's training.
And organisations like us who go out and that's our expertise. And the nice thing is, because we speak to so many hundreds of schools, we bring all the positives into our training. And it's important to take a little good thing from each school, and guess what? You create
and
one big,
absolutely. System. So do you want to just tell us a bit more about Rape Wise?
Rape Wise is a non-governmental organisation. It's a foundation. It was started 10 years ago. In fact, it's earlier than that. I've been involved as the CEO for 10 years now. And we have 3 points of focus. One is obviously training. We're one of the biggest training providers to the Department of Education, Department of Health, and schools in general in the country. We have rape crisis centres where people are treated medically and psychologically just after sexual assault. And then we have 2 programs called Rape Kids and Rape Teens where we talk to kids. And that's so important.
And then how would we get involved? I mean, how would little Johnny on the streets?
Well, if they go to rapewise.co.za,
okay,
and you'll see all our products and all our services on there.
That's fantastic.